Hi, I'm Professor Lynn Ritchie, and in this video we're going to look at societal survival from the structural functionalist perspective in anthropology and sociology. In our last videos, we were asking about where did culture begin, and we used the ideas from Edward T. Hall that culture began with people communicating on how to survive in our environment. Plain and simple, we need to be able to communicate with other humans in order to survive. We would have died out as a species if we were not able to communicate with one another. But as time has gone on, our societies have become more complex. And so in this video, I want us to question, how do societies survive? So we're no longer interested in how individuals survive. We are more interested in societal survival because actually societies outlive individuals. Structural functionalism applies a biological model to understand societal structures. It looks at the structures of human organizations, societies, communities, groups, just like a biologist might study a beehive. Society, like an individual and also like a colony of bees, must have certain needs met in order to survive. We look at the hive, the beehive. It's an interesting social structure with our worker bees taking care of most things in the bees. So we are going to look at and question, just like human society as a beehive, we're going to ask ourselves, okay, what task must be done for our society to function properly in order for it to survive? The functionalists have identified a number of needs. I have listed 20 in this video that they have identified and that we can think about. And I'll demonstrate how we can use this as we interact with people from different cultures. But what do we need to do as people, as a group, as a collective, just like a collective in a beehive, in a colony of bees? What do we need to do collectively in order to make certain that our society survives? We need to be able to regulate sexual behavior. If we can't regulate sexual behavior, nothing would get done. We have to be able to replace the members of our society through reproduction or immigration. If we don't replace our members, we die out. We also have to figure out how to care and protect our vulnerable citizens, the children, the elderly, the sick. We also have to socialize our children. We also fix social placement and establish status. We have to make certain that our people have economic security. We have to prepare our people for occupational roles. We have to be able to transmit that cultural heritage that reflects more of a collectiveness of a nation. We have to prepare us with various statuses and roles within a society. We have to promote change through scientific research. How do we solve our problems? Can we become better problem solvers? We have to explain the social and physical world to our citizens. Usually this will be through religious or scientific writing. We have to create group cohesion and group solidarity within a society. We have to produce the goods and services that we need for survival. We have to distribute those goods and services to the people in our communities, in our nations. Consumption of goods and services. Are there consumer goods that higher class people are allowed to consume versus lower class people? We also have to institutionalize some of our norms into laws, some of our rules into formal laws. We have to have some establishment of services like education, healthcare, childcare, welfare, warfare. We have to enforce the laws. We have to figure out how to resolve conflict between citizens. And we also have to protect our citizens from internal and external threats. So that's just a brief overview of the types of tasks that a society must complete. Think of it as an organization. A society is an organization, and these are its tasks that need to be completed in order to be successful and to survive. So we can identify several groups and organizations that help us fulfill the task for a society. Our family groups, our peer groups, our friends, religious groups and organizations, educational groups and organizations, work groups and organizations, mass media, anything from television to movies to book to music to social media sites. All of those help us to fulfill the functions of these tasks. Our government and political groups and organizations also help to fulfill these needs in a society. Sociologists refer to these groups and organizations as the agents of socialization. The agents teach us how to be successful in our social environment and also make certain that the tasks of society are being met by the cultural messages that are being sent between citizens. We all belong to groups, and in each group, we are given a status or a position in that group. You can look at the family group. They have statuses of mother, father, parent, have child, daughter, son, sibling, sister, brother, birth order, aunt, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, grandparents. In an educational group or setting, we might see teacher, student, janitorial staff, administrators, parents. When we can identify our statuses within these societal groups, we can identify the roles or the behavioral expectations dictated by society for those statuses. A mother should, a father should, a teacher should, a student should. Statuses and roles are very important because they give us clues about what should be happening during an interaction. And we're going to come back to this a little bit more, but just briefly, when we look at ascribed statuses are statuses that society does not expect us to change, or if we do change them, it is difficult to change. We also have achieved statuses. Achieved statuses are statuses that society expects us to change, and usually in a particular direction. And our achieved statuses are acquired by our own efforts. So some of the ascribed statuses that we might find are biological sex, ethnicity, race, social economic status. Some of our achieved statuses are education, our occupational status, our marital status. And sociologists will also talk about master statuses, and these impact what other statuses that we can occupy in a society. And they're very closely tied to our ascribed statuses. So because we are female, we might not be able to occupy particular other statuses within our society. So just to really summarize here, society has certain tasks that needs to be completed for survival. Groups and organizations socialize members into the acceptable ways to meet the needs, and this is what we refer to as our cultural pattern. We all belong to groups and organizations. We are all given statuses or positions within each group and organization. And there are a set of societal defined roles or behavioral expectations. There are a set of societal defined roles or behavioral expectations for people who occupy specific statuses, including expected messages about how to meet particular societal needs. Let's go ahead and chart the structure of the cultural patterns or of a cultural pattern. And let's take one of the tasks, regulating sexual behavior, and let's break it down and let's see how each of the groups and organizations help us achieve that regulation of sexual behavior for societal survival. Okay, so our groups and organizations, remember, are the family, religion, educational, economic, and government. If we look in the family, we can see the statuses of mother, father, and when we think about regulating sexual behavior, we might expect them to send messages to their children about the dating age. They might indicate that they have to have approval of a dating partner. And theoretically, they're supposed to have the official sex talk. When we look at brother, sister, those statuses within the family, we might find them helping their sibling to learn how to apply cosmetics or introduce them to potential dating partners. We might also expect them to have more informal sex talks compared to the parent. If we move into religious organizations, the spiritual leaders might have roles to communicate that there should be no adultery. You have to marry within your faith, that sex is for procreating. If we are a follower or the faithful, we might reinforce messages from the religious teachings, and we might introduce potential dating partners. We look at education and look at teachers and professors. They inform about biological aspects of reproduction. They inform about sexually transmitted diseases and inform about birth control methods. Our peers and friends within where we group together in educational settings might do some sexual technique sharing and again introduce two potential partners. If we look at some of the economic organizations like advertisers, and they're helping us to define what is physically attractive and how to look sexy. A pharmacist might be more interested in distributing birth control and meds for sexually transmitted diseases. Some corporate leaders, they might be interested in producing products to enhance sexual pleasure. And let's not leave out our politicians. They create laws like indecent exposure, the age of consent, regulations regarding abortion. And within the governmental organizations, we also see activists, and they might be promoting sexual health resources. They might try to influence politicians, and they might provide education on a whole host of sex-related topics and regulating sexual behavior. When we understand the commonality in the structure of societies, we can see how societies can vary in meeting these societal needs. Our messages become the accepted right way to meet particular societal needs for our society. So this is what becomes our culture. It becomes our rule book. So if we can just look at all of this different elements right here, we could really document the culture of a nation. What I'm going to do next video, we're going to look at how we can do cultural comparisons using the structural functionalist framework.